Positive energy all the time. Good to see you all. Hope you're doing well. He says cap. People, I've never heard of a question being cap. Good, yeah. Just say, can a question be cap? I don't think a question could be cap. Can a question be cap? I never heard that one before. I thought cap is like for a statement. I'm not tripping. The question is, do foundational black Americans have any allies? He says cap. Can you say cap? Is it cap? Unbelievable. Can a question be cap? Sometimes unbelievable. Not you, a Democrat loving Negroes can't ride with us, FBA. I have no idea what you're talking about. Unbelievable. All right, come back tomorrow. Unbelievable. Mm-mm-mm-mm. I don't think you know what foundational black Americans is. Foundational black Americans ain't got nothing to do with being a Democrat or a Republican. Crazy. Unbelievable. He seen the question, he said, cap to a question. He got to be a foreigner or something. Poor child. Come on in, rep your city. We got Vallejo in the building. We got Atlanta, Georgia in the building. We got Fresno in the building. Everybody on Facebook, Twitch, and Kick. YouTube, I'm representing Chicago. Uh, some of the, I don't know, some of the beef I don't quite understand. I don't really know what's going on with it. To me, it looks like a lot of people are jealous of foundational black Americans. They've just been hiding it. I think delineation is allowing them to let some jealousy out that they've been had. That's what it looked like. It looked like deep rooted jealousy. That's the only thing I could figure out. It's like some deep rooted jealousy and fear. It also seems like fear, too. Because I only see it on the internet. I never see it outside in the streets. It's quiet outside. But it's mad hate on the internet. It's weird. I don't be seeing none of that immigrant hate outside. Crazy. I never really. I knew that that immigrants and Africans got a lot of tribalism. They different than we are. They got a lot of tribalism. We haven't had nobody to have no tribalism with. We got gang problems. That's how we do our tribalism. We make up gangs. But it's a little weird with some people coming from another country or the island or somewhere and don't like you. It's strange, especially when they coming where you live at. That's strange. It can make sense if I go to where they live at and they acting a little funny. But to come on our turf or into our social media, into our spaces, hating. You see it on the job and they all lie on you together and try to get you fired. Wow, that's crazy. I used to be around a lot of Jamaican and Trinidadian stuff rosters, but it was always in the United States, so I don't think they was comfortable because it was always on my turf. If you want to look at the United States as FBA turf, so it might have been a lot of negativity that I didn't get to see because they own turf where that probably wouldn't have been healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in LA, I'm in Chicago, so it probably wouldn't have been healthy. They was probably too scared to, you know. They must have like kept it under wraps. That's the only thing I can think because I ain't really see the amount of hate I've been seeing. It's a little shocking. I'm like, well, why you hate us? We not in your country or nothing like that. We not in your country. Why you come all the way here to the United States to hate on us? That's a little weird. That's like crazy. You came all the way to the United States to let me know you don't like me? Today, I had something crazy happen about not too long ago, less than 2 hours. One of my brethren, he had to drop off a shirt to me that he had for me, and he had his son with him. Boy looked like he was about to be sixth grade, seventh grade. And he said, Daddy, why that lady call us dirty black Americans? The father said, what lady? He said, I was at school and all the kids kept showing this video with this lady calling us dirty black Americans. Like they all wanted to, they was mad. He said, oh, I ain't seen it. He said, Pearl, you heard about that? I said, yeah, I heard about it. He said, what's that about? Shorty was there, so I said, oh, she was just tripping. I didn't want to go into the details with the young, I think he's sixth grade, seventh grade. I didn't want to go into that. I didn't feel like he needed to be focusing on that. Let him just go back to school. He in a black environment. He don't need to know nothing about that. So I just kind of blew it off. I was like, wow, the kids is The kids know she a hater. That tripped me out. He said they was at camp, showing it on their phone, talking about her like a dog. He said they was calling her all kind of stuff. He's like, Daddy, they was calling her all kind of stuff. The kids, like I think he's sixth grade, seventh grade, somewhere in there. He wasn't no little boy, but he wasn't no high schooler. I said, oh wow, she famous for the wrong doggone things. That's crazy. I couldn't see myself on no social media calling no black people from somewhere else something. I could see me talking about they ain't standing on nothing and this and that, but I couldn't see myself calling no African nothing or no Caribbean. To me, that's like degrade myself. That would be that ain't no king type vibe like that. Ricky say you see it on the job. I ain't had a job in so long. I don't know. I've been working for myself. What's going on, April? Yeah, I've been working for myself for a long time, so I ain't really. I haven't had no. I did feel a little bad though earlier today. There's this older lady that lived by this store I go to, and she always be talking to me, and I thought she was like an African, right? One day she asked me, Rasta, you got dreadlocks. Rasta, she an older lady. I think she got kind of some little bit of mental illness. So she say to me, she say, Uba Duda or something. She said, that's Spanish. And she said, Uba Duda, that's French. So she was saying the same words. So she said the French version and the Spanish version. Like Abaduba, that's France. Uba Debe, that's Spanish. And this old lady, like my friend. I be making friends with people I don't know. Right? I don't know her from a can of paint, but she always talking to me. She's an older black lady. She's some kind of foreigner, but she's always in front of the store sweeping and moving stuff. Like, she got some kind of mental problem, but she's all very nice. So she be at the store holding the door for everybody. You know what I mean? She hold the door. She be smiling, hold the door for everybody. So when she was saying those words, I said, "What is that?" She said, "Okay, this Dubai said that is French. It's French." I said, "Where you from?" She said, "Haiti." I said, "Oh damn, I've been hating on you, ma. That's my friend." I said, "Oh damn, I can't even 100% hate on the Haitians because that's my friend." I said, "Oh damn." She's an old lady. Something wrong with her, but she don't. She's extremely like nice. She be doing that. She be holding the door for everybody. Come on, go in. She said, go in. And then she be walking around, picking up stuff, moving stuff around. I got the nitric oxide from Amazon. You can order it on Amazon. Yeah, that's a good thing to get, bro. Yeah, I got it. I got it from Amazon. Let me see. I'll show you the one. I said, oh, dang, my old friend is from Haiti. I said, I was thinking about the lady. I've been hating on y'all. Y'all been tripping. But she's a nice lady. You know, I was kind of wondering because I haven't never met no bunch of Haitians up here. So I didn't know it was no type of situation. I think their design is little bit different now, but it's by Snap. It's by Snap. Definitely something good to get, bro. No doubt. For the rest of y'all, y'all might want to get some. I'll show you right quick. Make sure y'all subscribe to Vegan Intel. There we go, right there. It seemed like a different formula because it used to be beets and something else. Okay, they got one with beets and mixed berries. They got the beets and lime. But the original one I got had something different in it. They probably be having a hard time. Oh, it used to have beets and pomegranate. Originally, it was beets and pomegranate. I don't know what happened to that one. I don't know what happened to that version. They must have had a hard time getting the pomegranates. That's what it is. I was wondering why they changed. Yeah, they probably couldn't get the pomegranates right now. So it's going to be the beets with the cherry and lime, probably until maybe pomegranates didn't turn out so good when they got ready to make their. I was wondering, do I eat raw beets? Yeah, I eat raw beets. I mostly juice them. I mostly juice them though. So after the young boy said that to his father and said, good to see you, Cammy. So after the young boy said to his father, said he was wondering why the lady was calling us dirty black Americans. I said, thinking to myself, I ain't really never known us to have any allies. It always seemed like black immigrants came here and it was really just for them. And I really don't remember them really being allies. It's almost like they just come in here to make some money. But they never had that blackness like foundational black American. If it was up to us, we would get along with all the blacks. One reason we don't get along with the other blacks because they don't get along with us. It's really them. It's not us. Our nature is we would have rallied around all the blacks. I seen some Haitians, they said they called them names, but that was kids, you know. I used to play in a reggae band with some Jamaicans, and nobody called the adult Jamaicans something. The kids was teasing their kids, but to really judge people based on what kids is doing is a little crazy. But I've never known us uh, to be prejudiced against no other black people, not that I know of. Black foreigners want to replace black Americans. I guess they would like to. For the economics, I can see that. I can see for the economics. Yeah, it's very strange, brother. It's very strange. But after a while, I started realizing that the Africans don't even like each other, so they basically bring the tribalism here. Then I found out the Caribbean people don't like each other. So it never, that's when I realized, oh, it's not personal. They just haters. It really became evident when I found out the Jamaicans and the Trinidadians didn't like each other. That was the kids calling them that. But then it wasn't that we was mature. We wasn't around them. Y'all was the first generation around them. Me and your father's generation, there wasn't no Africans or nobody. See, back in the 60s, 70s, there wasn't nobody here but black Americans. Wasn't no Jamaicans here, wasn't no Africans here, nothing. Just a couple. Like when I worked at the book factory, there was the brother named Ben. He was the only one there, and then another one came, but they didn't really start coming into the country until really the 80s. The first ones to come was the Jamaicans. The Jamaicans was the first ones. About what being both sided as far as what? Because you can't, at the end of the day, you can't be funny in somebody else's turf. And so the idea is both sided. How can it be both sided in my turf? You know what I'm saying? How could you know what I'm saying? How can it be both sided in my turf? How could you come here? You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like lying, G Rod. You can't come to nobody else's turf and then be negative and then saying both sides is negative. Not really. It's the Africans and the Caribbeans. See, the black Americans, we learned that from the Africans and the Caribbeans. They do tribalism. And we don't do tribalism because we ain't had no other blacks. And so the Africans and the Caribbeans are used to not getting along with other blacks. We're not used to not getting along with other blacks because we was the only blacks. So we always got along with blacks. Africans never got along with blacks because they come from different countries. Caribbeans never get along with blacks because they don't like each other from different islands. So I seen it firsthand. The first time I seen black division was when I seen the Jamaicans didn't like the Trinidadians. That's the first time I seen. The first time I seen it, it wasn't even against me, G-Rock. It was too fun. I listen. I went to a reggae club with some Trinidadians, thinking, "Oh, this is gonna be great." You know, Black American, Trinidad, Jamaican, and the Jamaican brothers asked me, "What are you doing with them Trini boy?" That was my first experience with a black that don't like a black. Caribbean dudes, and for sure, Africans is lying because Africans don't like Africans. You know what I'm saying? They lying. How can an African say that they came here and it's both sides when he act like that in Africa? In Africa, they don't like each other. They have xenophobia in Africa, right? So when African says both sides, he a damn lie. Okay, well, whose fault is it in South Africa? They're a damn lie. Africans practice xenophobia, and they brought the xenophobia over here. The only way they would be right, show me where you got along before you got over here. How you hating other Africans in Africa and then come over here and say it's both sided? When you was hating, you a hater before you got over here. We don't have tribes. So we never had no black to hate like that. That's Africans and Caribbeans. That's their nature. So they come out as both sides. You mean we don't like your funky ass back? Duh. So now when we don't like you back, oh, for example, I'm in the hospital. Why the African nurse don't like me? Right? I mean, if adults don't like other adults because kids, how much sense that make? See what I'm saying? How much sense that make? Kids at the school doing whatever. How much sense that make for the adults to not like the other adults because some stupid ass kids at the school? You know what I'm saying? So then why the Jamaicans didn't like the Trinidadians? They didn't go to school together. There wasn't no Trinidadian kids at the school teasing the Jamaicans. See, look at this. You had tribes before you were so. Look at this. Just unnecessarily nonsense. You know what I'm saying? It's just nonsense. Look, this is what they do. Just troll full of hate. And then the coward, bro, you don't even know me. You don't know if I'm an African or not. Let me get you out of here. This is what I'm talking about. It's like it's in their blood or something. You know what I'm saying? Like something like crazy or something. Just look at it. Look at it. Look at you, right? Who goes to somebody else's website where they talking to start stuff? Who does it? Who goes on the internet and look for Black Foundational Black Americans to talk to jump into the? I don't know. I can't trust you. I can't trust what you say. I can't trust you. So what's the beef in Africa? If that's true, what's the problem in South Africa? If that's true. What's the problem in South Africa? If it's black Americans, that means you all should get along in Africa, correct? See, they think we stupid, right? If it's us, what's going on in Africa? See what I'm saying? Liars, okay? If it's us, he said we tend to be causing problems. What is all this then? Because this is Africa. You know what I'm saying? This is Africa. Africa on African on African. So if it's us, what's causing this? We ain't. Well, if it's us, what is this? It looks like Africans be beefing, black on black beefing. That's what it looked like to me. We never heard of xenophobia. Look, look. He said it's us. He says, I tell you, man, some people are, he says it's us. He never heard, boy, he have never heard of no black people uh going at no other black people till he got to America and seen us. He never heard of it. It's two-sided. See what you're dealing with? They never heard of it before. When they was in Africa, they loved all the blacks. When they was in Africa, they had all love. They didn't experience no black person going against no black person. They got to the United States. See what you're dealing with? And they don't like each other nowhere in Africa. From the west to the east, they don't like each other in East Africa or West Africa. Unbelievable. The Eritreans don't like no Ethiopians, and you can't tell one from another. So whose nature is it? It can't, listen, xenophobia can't be our nature because we was the only ones here. There was no blacks to hate. So black on black hate got to come from somewhere where it's already been black on black hate. Africa. Africa is the capital of black on black hate. That's just a fact. You think they're going to tell the truth? They're not going to tell the truth, okay? You think they're going to tell the truth and say, yes, it's us. We practice xenophobia. We practice tribalism. We tribal. We're a bunch of different tribes and we don't get along. They're like, no, we never experienced that. Yeah, they the ones that sold their own black people. Like they the sellers. See what I'm saying? Of black people. Like part of Africa's history is selling their people to white people, to the Portuguese. That's their history, especially West Africans. Their history is fighting and taking their enemy and selling their enemy to the Portuguese and the Spanish. Hold on, let me show you how people is for. Watch this. Watch this. Look. You can't make this shit up. They say, ah, eh, people tell me it happened when they got over here. Look, there are approximately 40 historic slave castles, forts, and trading posts built along the West African coast that still exist today. The vast majority of these structures are concentrated along a 300-mile stretch of the coastline in Ghana, formerly known as the Gold Coast, which holds the highest density of slave trading fortresses in Africa. Imagine people coming from a place that sold black people to white people and pretending that they ain't experienced no black on black hate till they got here. Key facts about Africa's slave castles. Ghana alone contains around 30 to 40 of them. You know what I'm saying? You can't make this stuff up. Other African locations beyond Ghana, critical slave trading outposts and fortifications were established across West and Central Africa. This includes notable locations like Gorée Island in Senegal and the various coastal fortifications in Benin, Gambia, and Nigeria. Rest my case. Okay? They been hating on theyself in Africa. So this idea that they came here and oh no, we never seen no blacks against blacks till we came here. It's like, bro, all right, bro, all right, okay, all right, bro, all right, okay, all right, whatever you say, bro. I told you when I worked with the African chick, she was my friend, right? And when she got mad, you know what the first thing she said? You ain't nothing but a slave, she said. I was nothing but I was like 18 going on 19. The first time I got called a slave was from a black sister from Nigeria. I had never heard no shit like that before. That's like 1977. A black Nigerian girl called me a slave. Facts. I had never heard no shit like that. I had never experienced nothing like that before. I'm thinking because we got the Afro Sheen, right? So we into the whole Wantu Waziri use Afro Sheen, right? So we really into that, right? It was a Nigerian young lady around my same age, around 18, 19. She said, you ain't nothing but a slave, she said. That's the first time I experienced tribalism like that. I was shocked. I was like, what the hell? I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I'm listening to, I've been listening to African music, and you know what I mean? Black power, we black people, free South Africa, you know what I'm saying? We was friends. She was telling me all about Nigeria. She had an afro. She was fine. And she had some tight pants. I said, damn, Comfort, you look good in them pants. And she got mad. And she went and told a white lady. She went and snitched on me to the white lady. All I said was she looked good in the pants. I already had a girlfriend. So I wasn't even trying to holler at her. The white lady take me in the office and say, Comfort. He didn't mean no harm. He just said you look nice in the pants. The white lady looked at her like she was crazy. So when we get back to the vault, we walked in the vault. She said, you ain't nothing but a slave. I'm only like 19. I had never experienced no shit like that. The first time I got called a slave was by a Nigerian lady. Now, who taught her that young? Where'd she get that from? Her parents. Her parents been at the house saying that shit. My parents wasn't saying nothing about no Africans. Real shit. G-Rock. My parents wasn't at home teaching me nothing about disliking no African. Obviously, her parents and the people she was around was teaching her hate. Obviously. Obviously. I was like, I ain't know what to think. I've been listening to all this Pan African shit, you know what I'm saying? Osa Bisa, the last poet, we into black, right? We got the Afro pick. You turn on the TV, they saying Swahili, Wantu Wazuri, use Afro Sheen, beauty, you know what I'm saying? So we thinking black, you know what I'm saying? Like foundational Black Americans, we came up under black. We got the Afro pick with the Africa on it and all that. We don't even know none of this. We listening to UMass Akela, Osa Bisa. Look. See what I'm saying? So I'm thinking just black, you know what I mean? Like I'm listening to this in high school. See what I'm saying? So I'm thinking black, you know what I'm saying? And that was my first time. Look. Now I'm listening to this 16. Let me see. $1971. This came out in 1971. 58, 68, 69, 70, 71. I was number 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? I went number 70. You know what I'm saying? And the damn African lady, the African girl called me a slave. I couldn't believe it. I was, young like that. I was tripping. That was a lot. You know what I'm saying? That was a lot. I had to restructure my mind. I'm like, oh, the Africans look at us as slaves. I'm like, well, they the ones sold slaves. So I'm like, oh, wow, the Africans don't like us. You know what I'm saying? That tripped me out. I was like, damn, I didn't know the Africans didn't like us. You know what I'm saying? No, I mean, it's what it is. Let me see. Listen, it ain't about them experience. What I'm trying to tell you is, right? What I'm trying to tell you is, hell no, niggas didn't like you by then. Yeah, you was getting robbed. Yeah. Hell yeah. If that's the attitude you came over here with, yeah, you was getting beat up and robbed. What you don't want to face is, was that attitude there before you was getting beat up and robbed? And the answer is yes. You came here with that attitude, and that's why you was getting beat up and robbed. Not like, oh, nobody just beat you up and robbed. The vibe was already out. The word was out. Africans wasn't shit. That's it. You just don't want to face the fact. You can't tell me nothing. You was getting treated like that because you didn't have no decent reputation, and it was on site. Whatever you talking about, it was, I bet you was way after what I went through, and Black Americans had already found out y'all was some haters. That's a fact. Because I'm talking 1977. So by 1980, everybody knew y'all was haters. By 90s, the Jamaicans calling us Yankees. Let me ask y'all something. When the Jamaicans called us in Chicago Yankees, what word did we have for Jamaica? We didn't have no word for them. Tell me I'm lying. In the 80s and the 90s, when Jamaicans called us Yankee, what was the Black American word for Africans? It wasn't one. I mean, Jamaicans, it wasn't one. What, I'm a lie? When I'm lying? Because if it was, I would tell you there was no word for Jamaicans, just Jamaicans. Who think I'm lying? Black immigrants came over here with hate. That's why they received hate. That's a fact. Anybody trying to talk to me, I bet you they're younger than me. I bet you, listen, I bet you YT Truth is younger than me. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet, G-Rock, that his history is after me? So how could he tell me what happened? He's younger than me. I'm 68. He is not in my age category. I'm one of the few on the internet. So who gonna know the story? The oldest one or the baby? G-Rock. Who gonna experience what first? Me or him? This is facts. That ain't got nothing to do with what I'm talking about, bro. If you don't like the conversation, then don't get in it. These is facts. How old are you? How old are you? How old are you? That's it. How old? You tell me your age, I gotta get you out. How old are you? How old are you? Other than that, I can't talk to you no more. Don't come back. Come back when you tell your age. You'll tell your age, I can't listen to you no more. And you ain't got no real picture or nothing. I don't know who you is. You gotta state your age. I'm not gonna talk to you and you came here in the 90s or something. Period. I don't want to talk to you. You gotta state your name, age, and serial number. What's your rank? You know what I'm saying? All of this anonymous shit. Bruh, he not my age. I'm born in 1950. Let me ask you, G-Rock. Do you think he was born in 1958 or 1968? Yes or no? I want to hear what you're talking about, though. I want to hear what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear from him. He not honest. He later. So how could he speak on something? How do he know who started it? How do we know who started? Hey, G-Rock, if he wasn't here, how does he know who started it? How would he know why they didn't like Africans? He won't. He don't. Exactly. So be quiet. Just be quiet. Because you can't tell no history if you wasn't here. You cannot prove if Africans came here and made themselves an enemy. Listen, G-Rock, it don't matter. He cannot prove how it started. So if that lady, G-Rock, let me ask you a question. If I'm 18, 19, and an African Nigerian called me a slave, would it be possible after that time I start disrespecting Africans? Fair question. If it's 1977 and I get insulted by an African woman, she called me a slave. Couldn't it have been possible from that point I don't like Africans? So now when the Africans come later and I'm doing them dirty, they don't know it's because an African called me a slave. So this idea that somebody just messed with the Africans, I done already showed you that the Africans came over here calling us names. Same thing with the Jamaicans. The Jamaicans was fine, and they start calling us Yankee and all that, and that's when the Jamaicans started getting robbed and beat up. The Jamaicans was first. That is a fact. Black immigrants was first. If she called me that in the 70s, they've been on that, right? They've been on that in the 60s, in the 50s. I don't know. Come back tomorrow, bro. Anybody don't like the conversation, let me know. I'll get you out of here. Anybody don't like the conversation, let me know. I'll get you out of here. These is facts. And I'm Big Pharaoh. And hey, state your name, rank, and serial number. I'm telling you, as a little boy out of high school, an African queen called me a slave. If don't nobody want to deal with that aspect, then the conversation is because anybody decent would be like, that's kind of pretty early to be calling you a slave. Like honest people would say that. They would be like, damn, she called you a slave in 1977 and you wasn't nothing but 18, 19? She called you a slave when you didn't know. I didn't know none of that. I didn't show enough proof that Black Americans was on some black stuff. We wasn't on that. Africans wasn't on that. But Black Americans was on black. I showed the albums and everything. Black Americans was on black. Our first experience with foreign blacks not liking us was Africans and Jamaicans. They bought that over here. They bought that over here. Kids wasn't just picking on Jamaicans at school. They was funny acting niggas. And the kids started picking on. They wasn't just picking on Haitians. Haitians was funny acting. They was funny acting people. They came over here with that fucked up African attitude. I know ain't nobody gonna admit it. When a kid around their Haitian mama, their Jamaican mama, their African mama and daddy, and they hear all that, listen, Black Americans, well, y'all young. Let me ask y'all a question. My parents born in 1930s, right? Have I ever heard my parents say anything about Black immigrants negative? Ever? What you think? Put it in the chat. Not just my parents. When I went to Alabama, visit my grandfather, go to Decatur, Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, and all that, right? Right? Have I ever, in my whole childhood, heard any Black American say anything negative about any Black immigrant ever growing up in a household or anywhere? Ever. And you cannot say the same for Caribbeans and Africans. They was doing that shit already. They was doing that shit in the 50s and the 60s. Facts. For that girl to call me a slave in 77, 78, they've been saying that from the early 70s to her in the 60s. Her parents been saying that when she was young. That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. For her to say that young, that was a part of her culture. That's a fact. That was a part of her African culture. For her to say something like that at 19 years old. For her to say that to me, and we both like 19, 20, that's her culture. Because I had never heard no shit like that before. By the time Black Americans was talking crazy to Black immigrants, it was the 80s. After they did it first. Because when that happened to me, it was 77. It was 77, 78, right in there. Black Americans was not saying no shit like that. And when somebody said they was doing it in Florida, that's because you niggas got to Florida earlier and was saying that shit in Florida and saying that shit in New York earlier. What that lady was saying to me, them Black immigrants was already in Florida, New York, and they was saying that stuff in Florida and New York. Black immigrants was dissing Black Americans earlier there because they had immigrants there earlier. They bought that over here. Black Americans didn't even know nothing about no immigrants. What we know about Africans and stuff. We don't know no immigrants. And listen, who was dusty and poor and who was running somewhere to eat? They was. Why would the successful ones be the haters? You know the ones ain't successful is the one gonna be the hater. You know the immigrant gonna be the hater. You know that. Especially when it comes to Black people. The Black people, we wasn't raised like that. That's some African shit. Like, that's not even Black American culture. That's a fact. There is no traditional Black American culture talking about no immigrants. We wasn't around no immigrants. We don't know nothing about no immigrants. We never dealt with immigration. They the ones was traveling. They the ones was traveling from country to country. They the ones knew about different people from different places. We wasn't traveling. We don't know nothing. They was traveling. They was distinguishing the difference between people. If you growing up and you in Alabama, what the fuck you know about an African? It's the African traveling that begins to distinguish the different types of Black people. They the ones that experience different types of Black people. We ain't experiencing no different type of Black people. Where we gonna get xenophobia from when we only around Black Americans? I only been around Black Americans. So that's why I didn't have nothing to call her. She been around Africans that been doing that. Where she get it from? If it's 1977, where this Nigerian get the concept that I'm a slave from? Who taught her that? A Black American taught her that? Who she been hearing call us slaves? Because I ain't heard my mama call them nothing. I ain't never heard my mama say nothing, okay? I ain't never heard my mama say nothing about no Black immigrants ever. Never. And you can look at Africa and prove it. The Africans is full of shit. They in Africa doing it, okay? They been doing it, okay? They been tribal war, been. We just one tribe. How can we have tribal war when it's just us? That come from places where it's different people. That don't come from no place where it's just one people. How one people gonna practice tribalism? This is just common sense. That come from people that's mixy. That don't come from us. Tribalism don't come from us. We ain't had no tribes to beef with. Ooh. Ain't nothing about no Africans. How somebody 19 called me a slave at 19 years old it's 1977, 78. Who called somebody a slave that early? You're not full grown till you're 21. We straight out of high school. She's straight out of high school calling me a slave. See, that's why my age, that's why I'm so powerful over here. Because without me, they'll sell y'all some bullshit. But with me here, you can't come tell no story from in the 80s and the 90s in the middle of the story. Not with Big Pharaoh here. Because I'm going to tell the story from the beginning. Ain't no African on this internet can tell the story. Because every African on this internet is younger than me. Facts. Ain't nobody over here my age. So you cannot speak on what was happening in the 60s and in the 70s. I'm the only one. And the first time I experienced international hate was from a Nigerian woman. The second time I experienced international hate was from Jamaicans. When the Jamaicans asked me what I was doing with the Trinidadians, they didn't even hate on me. They hated on the Trinidadians. Now let that sink in. What am I thinking? As a young roster, go to a club with some Trinidadians, and the Jamaicans ask me what I'm doing with them Trini boys. What I'm supposed to think about black immigrants when they both from the Caribbean, and this one don't like that one. So tell me, when did I experience tribalism? When I was driving Uber, I didn't experience none of that shit. Because, I ain't experienced that. Like, don't nobody be fucking playing with me. You know what I'm saying? I was already too much like gangster and shit like that. My attitude is like, you can't, you know what I'm saying? An African ain't gonna say nothing to me. Nobody ain't gonna say nothing to me because, I'm kind of cool on this internet, but outside, it's obviously I ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody finna, you know what I'm saying? Like I was like 19 when she said that. Ain't nobody, you know what I'm saying? No, nobody, you know what I'm saying? Nobody gonna get out their body. Nobody gonna get out their body. I'm telling the history. So people like, you got a right to say this. No, I'm telling the history. I ain't got the right to say nothing. I'm telling the real history. The first time I experienced xenophobia was from a Nigerian woman. The second time was from a Trinidadian that hated the Jamaican that hated the Trinidadian. That's a fact. Nobody want to speak on the Jamaican hating the Trinidadian. Why y'all ain't saying nothing about that? Why don't y'all talk about the instance that don't even got nothing to do with FBA? What y'all think about that? What y'all think about the Jamaican asking me what I'm doing with the Trinidadian? Let's speak on that. Speak on that. What about that? I don't give a fuck about the Caribbean. I ain't never went to the Caribbean anyway. Well, I'm going to go to a dusty-ass, dirty-ass Caribbean for? I don't want to go to the Caribbean. Why I don't go down there for? Ain't nothing down there. Fuck I want to go down there for? And then as far as that go, if we running people out, you the one going to get ramped out from up here. You got more to lose. You the one coming up here to make some money. Ain't no money down there. So stop talking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Stop talking crazy, bro. Stop talking crazy. Okay? Stop. You the one gonna get ran from up here. See, it's more detrimental if we run y'all out of here than y'all run us out of there. We only got to come down there. Y'all ain't got no jobs, ain't no opportunity. You coming up here for opportunity. So guess who lose if somebody get ran out? Stop talking crazy, bro. Y'all will get dusted off like y'all ain't nobody up here, okay? Your number's too small, okay? Stop talking crazy, bro. And go do some sit-ups or something, chubby man. Go work out or something. You know, because you can't even run if you get in the beef. Stop, bro. Stop. And get out of here. Who the hell want to come to Jamaica, to the Caribbean? Shut up, bro. Hold on, let's take a break. Come to the Caribbean. I can't come to the Caribbean. Bro, I'm almost 70 and I ain't never been to the Caribbean. Why? Cause there ain't nothing there. Okay. I just proved my point. Didn't he just prove my point? He just proved my point. I ain't on no xenophobia, but he said if I keep on, won't no blacks be able to come to the Caribbean. Now let that sink in. Let that sink in. All right. So okay, what if I took that bet and we took that bet in the United States? Who would lose? They got the most to lose. You see what I'm talking about? How many people from the Caribbean in the United States? Right? So who got the most to lose if we run each other out of each other's country? Who got the most to? I'm just showing you how people slow. So he go and put his Caribbean people in danger. Good thing I'm not on that because I'm not pushing no violence, right? Right? I'm not pushing no violence, but I'm just showing you, right? Why would you talk to somebody in Chicago about running somebody out somewhere? I'm proving my point. He proved my point. Listen, between him and me, who you think can run people out the quickest? See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Because what he talk about will happen, I can make that happen tomorrow. See what I'm saying? I wouldn't because I ain't on that because I love black people. I'm just saying I could make that happen tomorrow. In the morning, first thing in the morning, I can make that happen in the morning. See what I'm saying? This is show how silly people is. I can make that happen in the morning. That's a fact. In the morning, I could put that order out in the morning. He's just talking. See, that's what I'm talking about. Why would he put his own brothers and sisters in danger like that? I'm not pissed because what he said about us. I'm pissed Bro, why would you put my Jamaican friends? See what I'm saying? I got Jamaican brethren and stuff. He talking crazy, putting them in danger, talking crazy. Now, what if I was a different person? Crazy. You understand? Crazy. Unbelievable. He messed around. Y'all won't be able to come to Jamaica. Bruh, come to the raggedy ass Caribbean. Or we just go somewhere else. What? We'll take that opportunity to go visit family here. We'll go to family reunions and shit. Unbelievable. I'm just showing you. And he ain't gonna bust a grape. He ain't even built like that. Like he not built like that. He ain't gonna do nothing. Crazy. And there's people in the Caribbean will be pissed because he running their money away. On top of that, hurting his arm, hurting it. They'll say, bro, what you said that for? You running away to tourists. I'm just saying. I'm just showing you. Ain't no way I would buy into that nonsense. Like I ain't into no xenophobia, beefing with no different blacks. That's my point. That's my point that them Caribbeans and them Africans, they into that. They is into black on black beef. I'm telling you, that is their culture. We don't have no different blacks to beef with. Africa got different blacks. See, the Ethiopians can beef with different Ethiopians. The Eritrea, you know, they can beef with each other. Aroma against Amara, they can do that. Zulu chase out everybody out of South Africa because they got all them different types of. See, so that's where they come from. See, it's funny when the Africans try to talk like they ain't the root of black on black violence, black on black hate. Africa is the headquarters for tribal war, black against black. Africa. Africa is the headquarters for that. Imagine an African trying to make us be the tribal the way they beef in Africa. You can't make this shit up. They put the Zen in phobia. Like that's what they do. Africa has a history of selling black people to the Portuguese and the Spanish. It's the black hating capital of the world. Facts. That's what they know for tribal war. That's what they known for. You see, they just told that girl she can't perform in Nigeria? The South African girl, because the Nigerians and the South Africans is beefing? Right now, they beefing. Hold on. Hold on. Let's look it up. Look, people phony as hell. I swear to God. Look, Africans need to shut up when it comes to that. Look, xenophobia in South Africa is a persistent social and political crisis. It involves intense hostility, mob violence, and economical scapegoating directed against African migrants from other countries. Major outbreaks occurred in 2008, 2015, 2019, and amid heightened anti immigrant protests and vigilante campaigns. They known for it. That's what they do. Come on. What, I'm allowing some other black people? They bought that shit over here. That's what they do. The only reason that is not bigger over here because there's too many of us and we don't buy into it. We busy. That's the only reason. The only reason xenophobia not big over here between different blacks. Look, he said you scared to talk about the white man, so you take your frustration. I ain't frustrated. I'm talking about the facts. And I don't know how no Africans we talk about scared to talk about the white man. You tripping. Ain't nobody more scared than y'all. He took everything you got. He took all your gold, all everything, cleaned you out, and you ain't gonna do nothing. You over here watching me. You the one supposed to be talking about the white man. You the one he robbed. Well, that must stand for F Boys Anonymous. Anyway, come back tomorrow. Because I got the power. Come back tomorrow. Yeah, come back tomorrow. Yeah, come back tomorrow. That's how that works. So you ain't nobody. See how easy that was? You don't like the conversation? Be a man. Go away. I'm talking about the facts. And then I didn't even bring this conversation up. I didn't bring this. This ain't where my title was going. Man, he might be anything. He might be lying. You can't believe niggas on the internet. But he's slow anyway, G-Rock, because I didn't bring this up. I didn't bring this up. I didn't even really get a chance to get into my conversation. That's a fact. The chat about this, what I'm talking about now, come from the chat. This wasn't the direction I was going in. Not at all. When people said that my title said we ain't got no allies, dudes had their panties on, got all in their feelings, and jumped over here with that. They bought that over here. I'm just responding hard. I don't be forgetting what's going on. I remember step 1, 2, 3, 4. This conversation came from different Africans and different foreigners jumping in. Our business wanted to beef. They came over here with that. And then I just straightened it out. But they bought that over here. I didn't even get to lay out. Right? I didn't even get to lay out what I'm getting ready to say because I had to start dealing with these foreigners that won't go home and fix their country. See, one thing about Africans is Africans won't go home and fix Africa. So Africans really got to shut the fuck up. Because there's no bigger black losers than Africans. How you sitting on all the natural resources, but you everywhere but at home where the natural resources is. So who gonna listen to a goddamn African? On the revolutionary side, Africans is the biggest punks in the black diaspora. You got all the gold, you got all the diamonds, you got uranium and everything, and you running everywhere, letting other people take your natural resources. What the hell can an African tell me when you in the motherland and you then ran? And then you run over here and you see all your animals in the zoo. They got your giraffes and they got your monkeys. They got all your elephants and stuff in their zoo for their kids to see. You can't stand up for your animals. You can't stand up for your natural resources. Nothing. But always in the chat running your African mouth. But you ain't standing on nothing. You got 1 billion different tribes. Arabs run North Africa, controlling all your natural resources in your trade. But you're running your mouth. And now Big Pharaoh got to be the one to put you in your African place. Africans can't say nothing to nobody about nothing, with all due disrespect. Africans cannot say nothing, okay? I mean nothing. Africans are failures as a whole. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm telling the facts. The power of the black world is in Africa, but they then ran and left it to somebody else. They supposed to be the big homie. We supposed to be getting natural resources from them. They don't even control their own natural resources. How I'm supposed to listen to you and respect you when you done ran from Africa and you in Chicago, you in New York, you over here? I'm at home. You ran. You don't control nothing in Africa. All on TV with Godfrey and them doing all that talking. Don't got your own African YouTube. Don't got your own African satellites. Don't have your own African spaceships, planes. Name me some popular African airlines. Ethiopia got airlines. They trying to get some. Africans don't hate nobody. Africans is trying to ignore their failures. And they're projecting a fake dislike on everybody out of their frustration of their own failures, psychologically speaking. Africans feel like failures, so they project this negativity out this way because they know goddamn well they rant all over the country and then people taking all their natural resources and they supposed to be filthy rich. Okay, Africans supposed to be filthy rich. Africans supposed to be giving us jobs. Okay, Africans supposed to be putting money in my pocket. What you can tell me and you from Africa, and you done ran and left all the natural resources there. What you can tell me? Like seriously. I mean, come on. I'm here to push the facts. Okay? I'm here to push the facts. Africans have failed. Now they ain't just failed Africans, they failed all of the animals. They let all the animals. Look at her over there shooting their giraffes, taking pictures. Look, pose it. You know what I'm saying? Look. They in my chat. And look what's going on in Africa. Look, but they talking to me. Trying to tell me something. Meanwhile, they ain't saying none of these people that's over there unaliving all of their wildlife. Disrespected them. Like we'll come to where you at, okay? And you can't do nothing about it. Right? Now, if I go over there, you looking at me crazy. But they come over there, you better not say nothing. Matter of fact, they're going to have an African tour guide. Come on, over here. This is where you can come over here and you can You know what I'm saying? They got an African tour guide take them to unalive their own animal. And you in my chat talking, get your feelings hurt. This big furrow. Like what? An African need to be quiet. You know what I'm saying? They can't say nothing. Them people over there taking all your natural resources and everything, and you on the internet beefing with some black Americans, we struggling. You know what I'm saying? We over here trying to work. We over here struggling. We trying to make a way. We in the belly of the beast, right? So look at it like this. Some Nigerians and some West Africans sold us into slavery. We come over here, captive under another race. And Africans go buy a ticket to come over here. They can't. Let's just let that sink in. We over here. Some of us was already over here. They leave the motherland and come over here. All the wealth over there. All the wealth is in Africa. They leave all the wealth and come over here for a job to work for the people that's stealing their wealth. And they'll be running their mouth. Make it make some sense. And everything they do in America, their continent is making all that work. Tell me I'm lying. Every time they buy a piece of chocolate, it's their chocolate. Africans is over here getting married, buying wedding rings, it's their gold. All they gold that they buy their wife and stuff is their gold that somebody stole their gold and sold it back to them to put on their wife finger. You can't get no real now. That's real. And come over here as a young lady, 19 years old, and call me a slave. All the way from Africa. You can't make this up. She came all the way from Africa and called me a slave. And what I do? Gave her a break. Because my girlfriend Pat worked right down the street. See what I'm saying? All I had to do was tell Pat. Did I do that? Did I sick Pat on her? Did I sick Patricia on her? No. I gave the sister a pass. I said, you know. I could have told my girlfriend. On my side, I could have told my girlfriend. I could have told my girlfriend. I didn't do that. I just let it go. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do the sister like that. Let this shoe would have been on the other foot with me in Africa. They would have did everything to me. That's why I don't want to go. I can't go to Africa nowhere like that. I'm not going nowhere where the people don't got control of their own situation. Mm-mm. If I want to go to Africa, I might as well ask the white man. He the one run it. Why would I ask you? You don't even run nothing. I go over there with him. I go over there with the boss. You know, not the workers. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you the facts. Sometimes it sounds harsh, but hey, sometimes, dudes, they be trying to challenge. And then when they get the smoke, then they like, oh, you know what I'm saying? But hey, you challenged me. I met the challenge. That's all. Don't challenge me. That's all. Let me just do what I do. Because Africa is worthless. We as foundational Black Americans, We can't depend on no Africa, that's for sure. We can't depend on Africa. That's why we foundational Black Americans. That's why we trying to focus on what we got to do. And that's what so many Africans is trolling us for. Because the brothers and sisters from Africa, they liked it when it looked like we was trying to run behind Africa. And they used us running behind Africa to disrespect us. They never used us in our effort to like Africa to bring us in. They used our energy to like Africa to mistreat us. You think about all us brothers that was Pan Africans. What did the Africans, all of us was Pan Africans, what did they do? Show me how the Africans helped Pan Africanism, help Rasta, help when black folks was looking towards Africa. What did Africa do? Nothing. They didn't help Pan Africanism. They didn't do nothing. Like, seriously. That's why Pan Africanism failed. This was my girlfriend when the girl called me a slave. But I got on tailor-made suit. My girl got on the tailor-made suit. Now, if I would have told her, all hell would have broke her because she kind of was wild. But I had respect for the sister. So I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I just took it on the chin and just, but I was confused though. But you know what pissed me off the worst? I had a white female supervisor. And the white female supervisor liked me a lot. And the white lady told the African lady to chill. And I was beginning to be a little radical. I wasn't like on what I'm on now. I hadn't gotten to that point. That really bothered me though. That really bothered me that the white lady was on my side and the African sister was against me and wanted to snitch me out to the white lady because I said she looked nice in her pants. Because I didn't say nothing inappropriate or nothing. I thought we was friends. So I said, damn, Comfort, you look good in them pants, which she did. She was fine. But it wasn't like I ain't say nothing vulgar or nothing like that. She just went off. Black folks in the 60s didn't do Pan-Africanism or in the 70s. Pan-Africanism didn't take off till the 80s. Okay, Lucky? Our ancestors didn't do Pan. You got to take that down and write it right. Nobody was doing Pan-Africanism in the 60s and the 70s. Pan-Africanism was till the 80s, bro. Take it down and repost it right. That's incorrect, okay? The 60s and 70s was Black Power. Black is beautiful. It wasn't Pan-Africanism. The 60s and 70s was Black is beautiful. It wasn't had nothing to do with Africa. Yeah, the 60s and 70s didn't have nothing to do with Africa. 60s and 70s was say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Pan-Africanism was the 80s, not the 60s and the 70s. The 60s was a fight for civil rights right here in this country. It had nothing to do, Martin Luther, MLK and them had nothing to do with Africa, bro. Nothing. That's incorrect. Pan-Africanism started when I got 20. When I turned 20, that was the Pan African movement. I'm born in 58. Pan African movement was like 80, 1980, 78, 80. Wasn't no Pan Africanism in the 60s at all. That's incorrect. Fix that. You know what I'm saying? Nah, wasn't no Pan Africanism. My mom and them in that generation, they wasn't dealing with Africa. The 60s and the 70s was Medgar Evers. Rest in peace to Medgar Evers. The 60s and the 70s was civil rights. So we could go to the washroom, so we could go sit down and eat in a restaurant. You see what I'm saying? That's the 60s and the 70s. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't really not no whole lot of black immigrants in the 60s and the 70s. The black immigrants wasn't here because if you can't get on the bus, you can't get on no plane, right? So there were no black immigrants because you couldn't get on no plane if you was black. See what I'm saying? You couldn't get on no plane. You couldn't get on no plane. Y'all listen to me. I'm gonna tell you the facts. You couldn't get on no plane. So it wasn't no immigrants. Okay? If you can't go to the bathroom, right? If you can't go to the bathroom, right? You can't get on no plane. If you can't get on the bus, can you get on the plane? The white man will let her get on the plane. See, in the 60s, that's the white man's plane. Ain't no integration. You ain't getting on no United Airlines. You ain't getting on no plane in the 60s. That's not happening. In the 60s and the 70s, you get on the Greyhound bus or you drive. So when I was little in the 60s and 70s, black people took the Greyhound or drove. Black people that was not in no airports, okay? When I was a little boy, you want to go, you got to go to Alabama, you either going to take the Greyhound or you going to drive. With no black people flying. These is facts. With no black people flying. Oh, hell no. You couldn't even go to the bathroom. What bathroom you going to use? See what I'm saying? You better not walk your ass in no airport. Man, listen. Ain't nobody even consider going to no airport. So that's what I'm trying to say. So when did the Africans come? After we fought for them to get the rights to get on a plane. After we fought for the rights for Jamaicans and Africans to get on the plane, that's when they came. They didn't even give us the respect for the reason they came. They don't credit none of that. And these is absolute facts. And when you start talking about scholar, you talk about me. In it though. It's just I don't never say that, so people don't really honor me as that. But I'm one of the top dogs out here. Not only do I read it, but I lived it. See, some people, you younger than me, you gotta go read it. I don't gotta read it. Africans could not get on no plane or Caribbeans until after this day right here. Before this day right here, could no black person get on no plane. This today, Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Bill. There's go Martin Luther King behind them. If anybody tell you they was getting on the plane before this day, they lying. You didn't have no rights. Black people was not free until this day. This today that black people actually got free. There's a fact. Black people got free when I was 6 years old, 1964. 1964 is when black people got free. I was born in 1958. But when they signed the Civil Rights Bill in 1964, it still took another 6 years for it to, be in effect. You know what I'm saying? It took 6 years for the police to come out and everything and make sure that whites followed it, because white people didn't just go along with it just because they signed it. So that's why I say you didn't get free until 1970. When you got free, I was 12 years old when black people got free. 1970. It was 1970 for all of that was in effect. And if you go back and look, by 1975, the Africans started popping up. By 1976, 77, the Jamaicans started popping up. Because the first place the Jamaicans went was England in the 50s. They went to England. They couldn't come here. Wasn't no black immigrants flying here until in the 70s. When I got out of high school, I worked at W.F. Hall Printing Company. It was an African brother named Ben worked there. He had just got to the country, probably had been there like a year and a half. That's when you start seeing Africans. And look how so many of them disrespectful. See, this is what I'm trying to tell you. When it was my mama in them, and it was Rosa Parks in them, and it was Medgar Evers, and people put their life on the line for Africans to come here. That's why I be really pissed over that. That's why I don't really like the way black immigrants, I don't really respect the way they function. Because without this man losing his life, without them going to jail, without this sister going to jail, ain't no Africans over here, ain't no Jamaicans over here. That's a fact. So then they come over here and disrespect the people that fought for them to come here. That's why Africans be out of line, and Caribbeans, they be out of line. So imagine my mom and daddy paved the way for them and they talking crazy. I'd be really ready to get out. I ain't promoting no violence. I'm just telling you. That should be serious to me. We talking about my mama and daddy. My mama and daddy the reason your ass over here. And that is a fact. Yeah. My mom and daddy born in Alabama in the early 30s. Yeah. Yeah, like that. These some of the people the reason your black ass over here. Know that. Know that part. You wouldn't be here from Africa nowhere without these brothers and sisters right here. That's my daddy and that's my mama. Without them and their generation, you wouldn't be over here. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. That's a fact, though. There ain't no make believe. That's an absolute fact. People lost their lives for black immigrants to come here. They sure did. Man, people lost their lives for black immigrants to come to this country. And then they come over here and they get all on the internet talking crazy to the people. The reason they came here. Very disrespectful people. Don't know no history. Very disrespectful. Our people used to have to carry the green book with them so they could know what hotels they could go to, what restaurants they could go to. Wasn't no Africans here doing the green book during this era. Africans don't know nothing about this. All this was taken care of before African and Jamaicans came here. Black Americans had took care of all of this. No Africans, no Caribbeans. They never had to have the Negro motorist green book. They don't know that we can only sleep at a Holiday Inn. We had to go to Holiday Inn. They don't know we can only buy gas at standard gas station. They don't know none of that. They don't know when I'm in the 5th grade, I had to knuckle up. The African don't know nothing about that. For their kids to walk around here. Why you think your kids, who you think knuckled up for your kids to walk around here? Just because my mom and them cleared the way, that don't mean them young white kids was still on what they on. How you think they got straightened out? What you think I was doing outside? I'm just asking. What you think I was on? When my parents took me out of Lutheran school and took me out of public school, sent me to a Lutheran school that's black and white. What you think I was on? Why you think I could? How you think that went when I was walking around there? You think them white kids play with me? I'm just asking. I'm one of the reasons black people could walk around out here. Because my mom and daddy, they did the civil rights stuff. But who cleaned up the streets? Me. My generation cleaned up the streets. Them brothers and sisters in LA, when I got to LA, they had cleaned that up. I got to LA in the early 80s. Like I got to LA like 1979, I think. Brothers had already put the work in out there. Like it wasn't nothing sweet here like that, like you just came here and you just from Africa and it's just no. And Africans, they don't be having no respect for the history. They just think, I don't know what they thinking when they come here. I don't know. They don't even understand that Black Foundation Black Americans is the only reason they here. I got a dude talking about they gonna run people out of Jamaica. We the only reason Jamaicans could come here, bro. You just talking. Wasn't no rosters, wasn't no reggae here until we cleaned up the streets. The reggae didn't pop off here until the late 70s. That's a fact. Wasn't no reggae, wasn't no Jamaicans up here, bro. Wasn't no Jamaicans here in 65, 68, 71, 72. Jamaicans didn't start coming here to like 1975. That's a fact. Jamaicans couldn't walk around here until I was a junior in high school. Wasn't no Jamaicans walking around here, boy, when I was in the 6th grade. It was a lot going on. So do we got any allies? Hell no. Because if we had allies, they would come, they would study the history, they would learn the history. See what I'm saying? That's like me going to South Africa and go to the beach, but I don't respect Winnie Mandela. I just act like I could just go to the beach. But I don't respect the freedom fighters in South Africa. This is what they do when they come here. This is why black immigrants, when they came here, that's why they disconnected. Because they don't know the history for black people. They on some, I'm an African. No. That's why me and the Africans don't see eye to eye. Because you are African, I'm a black. No. Here, when I was growing up, you were N-word. You were N-word. Nah, we're no OGs doing all that. You don't know what you're talking about. Now you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know nothing about Chicago. You don't know no history. You just talking. You don't know nothing about gangs. Now, if you ask me, I could teach you about gangs. You want to know about the gangs? Yes or no? Just say yes or no. You want to really know the truth about the gangs, or you think you know the truth? Because I'm willing to tell you the facts. You want to know the facts about the gangs? Yes or no? If not, I'll just get you out of here. You want to stick with what you're saying about the gangs, or you want me to drop some knowledge on you about the gangs? Yes or no, bro? Give me a yes or no. You got a couple seconds. I'm going to take it as a no. All right. We was under racism, so of course the European was throwing us in where? In prisons. The gangs come out prisons, bro. The gangs don't come out the street. The gangs in LA and the gangs in Chicago started fighting white boys. I'll repeat to you, bro. The gangs, ask somebody in LA, the gangs in LA and the gangs in Chicago was formed fighting white boys. These are facts. That's how it started the gang. The gang started racial. Because when the black boys would go to school, the white boys would trace them home. So it was like this. This the school, right? This is school. All of this is white. Blacks move over here. So the whites start leaving on this side. So this side becomes where the blacks. Behind the school is the whites. So when the blacks go to school here and get out of school, the whites over here chase them home. So when I was a little boy, the big boys would be running on the block, bleeding, beat up, because the white boys would chase them from Morgan Park, Finger High School, all the high schools. So the black boys would come home and get more boys to go back. Them became the gangs. Even though we could fight the citizens, the whites ran the police department. So now the white police department and racism start throwing blacks in jail and in prison. When they start throwing blacks in jail and prison, white dudes is in jail and prison. So the blacks had to form gangs to survive in prison. All the gangs come out of the penitentiary to survive against whites in the penitentiary. Okay, wait a minute. Let me see. Okay, so you're not listening. Now look, this is a loser. Now he told me to explain, right? And right in the middle while I'm talking, look what he not listening to nothing I'm saying. I'm just showing you the level of disrespect. Look, I said, you want me to drop it? He said, drop it. He said, yes. I started talking, right? Right while I was talking, look what he was doing. Phony. See what I'm saying? Fake and phony. He ain't listening to it. Nothing I said. A loser. Detrimental to our community. A liar, too. Because why would he ask me to talk to him and he not listening? A loser. Negative energy. I'm going to just show you what you got to deal with. Yeah, he's trolling. He ain't on nothing. I get him out of here. I just want y'all to see that a lot of these people is fake. I just want you to see that everything he said is disavowed. That's my point. My point is to show you that is that everything he's been saying is disavowed. I was telling him why. I was telling him why. He didn't want to know. He did not want me to jump to nothing. He wasn't going to listen to nothing I would have said. G-Rock. It doesn't matter what. He wasn't going to listen. He was over here trolling and being disruptive. Okay? He's a loser. Nothing can help him. Okay? Nothing can help him. He's a loser. But the rest of y'all heard the story. That's what counts. He's a loser. Nothing to help him. He can't come outside. He can't go to jail. He can't act like that outside. Listen, he is on the internet. He cannot do that on no block or no neighborhood. I'm just telling you. He's not a real person. That's an internet character. He can't do that outside like that. He can't function like that. But y'all, I don't mind because it was a question that y'all can learn from. But that's how that later turned into penitentiary, created the gangs because now they got to have a gang to go to the white gangs. Then you get another black gang and another black gang. You can't get no jobs. They infiltrate the community with illicit substances. So now you got to defend your area where you selling your work over here and you selling, and that turns into gangs. But the gangs is not negative because the Italians did the same thing. They just never let the blacks elevate. But you don't see nobody say nothing about Al Capone and them shooting each other up. They don't say nothing about Al Capone, Bugs Moran, Lucky Luciano. The Italians and the Irish did the same thing. Yeah. The Italians and the Irish did the same thing. See, brothers be phony and don't know no history. Tell me I'm lying. Blacks did something different than them. Tell me I'm lying. There go Al Capone right there. Al Capone is the young one, banger, before he became a boss. That's Al Capone is 17 years old. Gang member. The one in the middle is the boss. But the one with the hat off on his knee, that's 17-year-old Al Capone, gang member, gangbanging. What they gotta say about them? This whole country was built off of gangs. He got to go watch the gangs in New York. The whole United States was built off of gangs. That's a fact. The Irish against the Italians and all that. It's a gang. You know what I'm saying? The country was built off of gangs. Kind of, sort of. They was not, kind of, sort of, because they was working together, kind of, sort of. The criminals was cool, is better to say it. The mob was cool with the black mob, right? Is the better way to say it. Let's take a break. So, COINTELPRO removed the leadership of the gangs. Young babies come in, and that's what you see going on now. That's all orchestrated. He could have learned something if he would, you know what I'm saying? That's all orchestrated through, okay? The gang violence you see now, black people ain't got nothing to do with that. That's orchestrated through penitentiaries. See, if they lock you up early enough, and you don't get no education, now you can't get no job. So if they lock you up, right, and you get if you get just a little bullshit case that you didn't even do, and they find you guilty, you can't get no apartment. So they criminalize you. So now you can't get no apartment. You got some little bullshit charges. Nobody will hire you. But you ain't got no charges that's bad enough for you not to get hired. So if nobody will hire you, you can't get no apartment. You got to live with a girl. And now you got to do crimes because you can't get no job. So they criminalize you through the system. That's how the gangs. They criminalize you through the system, keep throwing you in jail. You got to protect yourself, this group against that group. That's how that's done. If somebody comes in and try to clean the gangs up and get order, they lock them up as a kingpin. So if I go try to fix the gangs, they're going to give me a RICO. But most of the gangs is because they criminalize you. So you can't get no job, can't get no apartment. A lot of young men, they got to live with their girlfriend. They lock you up for like nothing. They even plant stuff on you. I was driving my car, I had the police pull me over, and I had the police go and throw some white stuff on my back seat and say, look what I found here. I said, I seen you throw that there. Now, they didn't do nothing, but sometimes they would have took me to jail anyway and charged me for that. Man, if you knew how many people get charged for stuff the police plan on them. You wouldn't. You would shake your head. That man pulled out some white powder and threw it on my seat, my back seat. I seen him. I said, "Hey, I see you just throw that there on everything I love." The man pulled out some powder and threw it on my back. A white police officer. Now I could have went to jail, and everybody would have been looking at me like a criminal. I can't get no job. Y'all would have been judging me, not knowing the whole time I got set up. Once he throw that on my seat, and I get set up, now I can't get no job. Now I'm cursed to a life of criminality. Facts. They creating these criminals. These criminals ain't criminals. These facts. They making criminals. And then say that's your nature to be a criminal. Oh my soul. They criminalize you and then say that's how you are. But they make criminals. They create criminals. That's an absolute fact. Man, if you was in the county jail, see how many brothers in there for nothing, you'll shake your head. I mean for nothing. I'm trying to tell you. They're going to make a bunch of noise. Oh, y'all shooting each other. But they ain't saying nothing about that young lady they just found hung up in that tree. There's been like 8 or 9 black people hung in this country in the last week or so. Ain't nobody saying nothing about that. So when people come over here with all that criminalizing and stuff, they brainwashed by the system. You actually a part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Exactamundo. They be criminalizing people. And see, on this internet, I ain't arguing about internet because I got to check your file. I can't check your file on the internet. See what I'm saying? Because on the internet, people could just say anything, and you ain't got no proof. I can't see their face or nothing, right? So I can't even look you in your eye to see if you even legitimate to even be commenting on what you commenting on. Because you could be commenting on something, and then you could be a little Portuguese. You could be in Portugal somewhere. See what I'm saying? Because you're like, why you don't be listening to nobody? Because I can't verify you. I can't verify who you are. So you can get over here and just type anything. You can verify me. This is really me. This is my real face. This is me. Pharaoh, Ramesses, Elaton. I can't even verify your name you use for your account. So what you want me to debate? Somebody with a fake name? I can't see your face or nothing. You're not equal to me. Nothing. You can't be verified who you are. So nothing that you type in can be verified. So no, I'm not going to listen to you. You're a miscellaneous character. You could be anybody. Why would I listen to you? With all these weird names and hidden faces and stuff. And don't know what the hell you talking about. And you ain't, come on. You like a teacher that ain't got to come to the class, ain't got to show their face, and could just use a fake picture and a fake name and come on the computer and teach a class. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if your kids went to school and had to listen to somebody like these people in the chat that is unidentifiable, foolish objects. You a UFO. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna listen to you for? What's your credentials? How you gonna match me? Because anything I say that you don't want to agree with, you're gonna say is wrong, even though it be historically 100% correct. But it's not what you want to say. But everything I'm saying is 100% correct. Now, if you really want to debate it, put up 10 grand and let's set it up. Put your damn money where your mouth is. But I'm not gonna argue with you for free, but I'll debate you for some free. You gotta pay me to waste my time. Cause most people they ain't gonna put no money up. They're like, no, I know stuff, but yeah, you don't want to put no money up. Nah, you don't want to lose your money. You want to argue for free where you can't lose nothing. Put your money where your damn mouth is at. You're gonna lose. So that's how they created crime. Way back with Al Capone, that was the same thing. Certain certain groups that came earlier had the advantage of the newer immigrants, so the newer immigrants were stuck with crime. Because at that time they wasn't really dealing with whiteness like that. You Irish, you Italian like that. You German, they wasn't getting along like that. There wasn't white like you know today. They were separated. Here in Chicago, the Irish and the Italians unalived a lot of people. And they had Tommy guns. They want to hide that history, you know what I'm saying? It's real history. So when you look at terms, we got allies. No, we don't got no allies. The reason foundational black Americans don't have no allies, because our black people that come over here, they just come to eat. That's it. You can't make no ally on nobody just coming to make money. And they got no moral compass. They got no social reason. They just here because they can't make no money where they came from. Ain't nobody leaving their homeland to come over here. They coming for money. That's the only reason immigrants is here. For money. How you gonna be an ally with somebody that's only here to make $1? And when somebody come here to make $1, you become competition to them. So if black immigrants come here to make money, no, they're not gonna get along with us. Because they competing for the money. Mind you, they slow too. Because if a black immigrant coming here to make money, that means we more advanced, right? That means this a better place. That means this a better economical system, or they would stay in the Caribbean, stay in Africa, right? So coming here, they're admitting this is better. This can't be better unless this is higher intellectually than where they came from. So now when they come here, they got to compete. They got to figure out a way to compete with the people already here. Well, foundational black Americans is heavy competition. That's what black immigrants don't know. So if you got white Americans and you got foundational black Americans, and we only 50 million, but we worth 2.1 trillion, the way to slow us down is to bring over some sellout coons to have them go against us. So black immigrants, they make sure that they can't compete with white America. They put them down there to compete with us. So that's why they be hating on us and not the white man. They scared of the white man. And they put in a position to compete with us, to take jobs from us. So when you brought over here to take jobs with us and only compete with us, you ain't standing on no blackness. You a sellout. Because if you standing on blackness, you're going to come in, if we here and the whites here, you're going to come from Africa and join with us and push all the black folks up. But you don't do that. So if we here, you come and split and take both of us here. Is what the Africans never understand. Because it's only so much money right here. And if you come split some of that money, we don't go up. We both go down. Because you splitting that money, making them further up. And once you knock us down, then they just step on your ass, mission accomplished, because they don't like you. They prefer us. They don't like black immigrants. You see that now. Black immigrants getting a wake-up call. They're going to throw as many of them out as they can. Good job. You slowed down the black American. Thank you for your service. Get your ass out of here. That's all you was brought over here for, was to slow us down. That's it. Black immigrants was brought over here to try to destroy us and slow us down. They were not brought over here for nothing but to destroy other black people just like them. That's the only reason they're here. That's it. They're not here to compete with white America. They're here to slow down their brothers and sisters. That's it. So when you go on these, when you go and you see them on 154 and you see them, African American, some nigga that played on the NFL that wouldn't have been able to play on the NFL without us, but he on 154 talking crazy, and without Gale Sayers and all the old black athletes that paved the way to play football, he wouldn't even be over here from Africa playing football. And then he don't know the European looking at him like, y'all keep playing with them black Americans to see what happens. Because the European already know what's going to happen to black immigrants if they keep playing. See what I'm saying? Black immigrants is suckers. They being set up. Trust me, the European that run this know that it's going to go bad for black immigrants if they go too far. If it hit the streets, that black immigrants is ops, it's a wrap. They'll have to go back wherever, see what I'm saying? So they being set up. Black immigrants being set up for failure. He know you can't win over here against black Americans. He know it. So he could kill two birds with one stone, bring us down a little bit and have us do you dirty. Send you back to Africa, send you back to the Caribbean, butt ass naked. You won't even be able to come outside. If we say you can't come outside, you can't, black immigrants can't come outside. If we say you can't come outside, it's over. You won't even be able to come outside. You won't be able to have no restaurants. You won't be able to have no clubs. I'm not promoting this. So I'm not promoting violence. I'm telling you, the system know that's the outcome. That's why they like, get these Haitians out of there. We can't let the black immigrants outnumber the black Americans. We ain't trying to help these black immigrants. We just trying to slow the black Americans down. But we do not want the black immigrants to win. We just want them to slow them down. They don't even want y'all to win. You see, the problem with black immigrants, they don't know the system. They don't know who they dealing with. They dealing with some real gangsters. Them people don't like y'all. If them people got to choose between us and black immigrants, they're gonna choose us every time. They're not gonna choose you. You're gonna lose. America set black immigrants up to fail. It's a dirty game, for real. Black immigrants cannot win without black Americans. They can think whatever they want to. They don't know who they playing with. They're being set up to fail. The Haitians just found out. The Haitians, F8 and FO, am I lying? As soon as they get rid of them, they're coming after the Africans. They're coming out, they're gonna throw the Africans out. If you ain't no legal African, you'll be out of here between now and March of next year. You'll be gone. They're gonna throw the Africans out. If you ain't got your paperwork, you African, you're gonna be out of here. We got to sit there and watch the game and watch them. We just be looking. I be looking at black immigrants being, ah, damn. I be looking up, shaking my head. Bruh. They won't listen. How you come to a country where black people been here to hold the longest and not listen to them and get around them and learn the game? Make that make sense. How you come from the Caribbean, come from Africa, and don't learn the game from us and think you can reinvent the wheel? You know what I'm saying? Watch the Haitians. Watch the Haitians by September the 1st. Watch. It's early August. Watch by the end of this month. See, they got ankle braces on. They got the ankle. They all on the internet tripping. Want to argue with me? Listen. One thing about me, I still got love for black people. Let me tell, if you are Haitian or you are African, and listen to me close, stop identifying yourself on this social media arguing with foundational black Americans. Don't say I ain't been no good brother and I'm telling y'all, I'm being a brother. If I wasn't y'all brother, didn't love y'all, I wouldn't tell y'all this. Why would you get with ICE throwing people out? Why would you get on here and let everybody know you're a Haitian and see your IP address? Why would you get on here and let everybody know you're African, you're a Haitian? Listen, African brothers and sisters and Haitians, get over here and be a black American. Take them Haitian flags down. Take that Haitian shit and that do not be no African and do not be no Haitian. Don't say Pharaoh didn't show you love. I ain't supposed to do it because y'all some haters. I'm supposed to let them get y'all. But I'm super black. I ain't going to do y'all like that. I'm looking at them coming in these chats exposing their dumbass selves. I said, hell no. Us Haitians, this and that. I'm just looking. I said, did this fool get on here and tell ICE he a Haitian? Bro, shut up. You know what I'm saying? They all exposing themselves. They making videos. Hey, you can't get no dumber than that. Us Haitians, we demand respect. Shh. Lady, get off YouTube. Whereas us, ain't no way we'll get on YouTube and tell you what we is. Am I lying? Would y'all, if y'all was Haitians and know what y'all know now, would y'all get on YouTube and tell everybody, hey, I'm a Haitian and I don't like what's going on? You cannot. I'm an African. And like, get him too. Get his ass out of here. Stop identifying y'all stupid ass selves. Y'all slow as hell. What's going to happen when y'all run into a real hater? Let's say I was a real hater and you came over here, you was a Haitian. Ow. Do this. This is what I do. Hold on. I'll take the picture. I take the picture. Doop, doop. I send it to ICE. I do this, blow up your profiling. Doop, doop. You know what I'm saying? Take the picture on everything and send it to them. On everything I love. I take the picture and send it to ICE. ICE, I got a Haitian, I got an African harassing me. No, there ain't nobody. There ain't nobody. They're going to get thrown out the country. They just don't understand. They don't know the European. When you talk about the European, they better start cosplaying. The European to tell them the foremost experts that ain't white, the number one experts on this planet of white people is foundational Black Americans. We as white people, experts. Because we growed up with them. Africans and Caribbeans, they don't know that. They don't know nothing about white people. We know everything about white people because they're our friends. We hang out with them. See, we get along with white people. Now they don't understand. We don't hate white people. We smoke with them. We go to the barbecues. We hang out. When you see that racism out there, them just a few weirdos running around trying to unalive Black people and stuff like that. They don't represent white people. They represent some racists going around doing stupid stuff. They're like, oh, look, they're finding people hung and all that. That's weirdos. They don't represent white America. The real white America right now is pissed off at this economy. That lost their jobs, working their ass off, barely making ends meet. Got to go back home and live with their mama and all that. Yeah, white Americans is going catching hell just like everybody else over here. They ain't got no time to be thinking about no racism like that. That's the few trying to paint a picture like racism coming back. Racism ain't never coming back. Not like that, okay? Not like that. Y'all run around doing that weird stuff, but the feds will lock y'all up. Let them get your fingerprints on something. You go into prison. Go ahead. Do your little racist weird stuff. Going around unaliving people. They're going to throw you in prison and throw the key away. For sure. Cause they ain't on that. They ain't trying to hear that. They ain't trying to go backwards back to the 1920s and all that. They ain't on that like that. They on some trying to get some money. They on some the USA versus other countries. That's what they own over here. They ain't on no. That's why people like why black people ain't getting more upset over the unalive because we know that's just a few weirdos. We already know we can't blame white America for some weirdo that's a racist. They ain't got nothing to do with them weirdos. Them weirdos is on their own doing that. They not sanctioned by white America. We know that. They not sanctioned to be running around unalive at people. They're like, that's gonna be a thing. No, it's not. Okay? No. That's some weirdos that's gonna throw their life away. Because once they be unaliving a black person, as soon as they get to arguing with their wife, they gonna unalive her too, and they gonna go to prison. Because committing those type of sins become addictive. You start getting a bloodlust. And then anybody get on your nerve, you think you can go string them up. They're gonna all get caught. They're gonna get caught. They're gonna go to prison. Remember I said it first. You got people trying to fan a flame like we supposed to get all upset about somebody doing some mysterious crimes and making it look racial. What you want us to do? We don't know who did it. We're not gonna go outside looking for somebody we don't know who we looking for. You know what I'm saying? What you want us to do? We don't even know who did it. You mess around, found did it. Could have been an Asian man did it. Mad because we boycotting the Asian stores and trying to make it look like a white person did it. It's crazy people out here. I'll do this and they'll think the whites did it. You'll be surprised. So we're not finna crash out over that. Not like that. One thing when you get that bloodlust like that, they gonna keep on till they get caught. Everybody know that. They gonna keep on. They gonna become a serial K. They gonna keep on till they get caught. You know what I'm saying? We don't be doing no racism like that. You cool, you cool. You ain't cool, you ain't cool. That's what we be on. Because we already know ain't nobody gonna run up. See, in America, if you ain't gonna run up, we blow you off. This America, you gotta run up. All them threats, we ain't with that. You gotta really run up then. Stop threatening. Like we ain't finna stop our lives for no veiled threats. We about that action. Run up when you get tired of threatening, run up. You know what I'm saying? That's the American way. Other than that, boy, we not buying into that like that. We ain't buying into that race baiting because that's what somebody out here trying to do. They trying to race bait. That's what they trying to do. We ain't buying into that. But when it comes to black people around the world, we don't have no allies. And the reason we don't got no allies because all the other blacks is trying to get money. And so they competitors. You can't get an ally out of competitors. So when blacks come in from foreign countries, they competitors. How a competitor gonna be an ally? They come in here, try to get money, right? So they're not gonna never be your ally. Because black immigrants don't got the concept to get money with us. They got the concept to come and get money from white America and fight for the jobs they provide. Because you got to understand, they coming from failing countries. They coming from failing countries. That's why they got to come here. Africa is a failing continent, basically. So they got to flee. The Caribbean's failing. They got to flee. Haiti. Look at Haiti. They got to flee. So if you got to flee, you ain't got no concept to build because you running, you got a whole low-level concept on just survival mode. You see what I'm saying? So they don't got the mentality to come and work with us. They don't got that. If they had that, they'd come vote, put us in office, and then we'll make them citizens. They slow. They come and vote for Trump, and then he throw their ass out. Duh, stupid. Remember all the Haitians for Trump? All right. The only person would have let your dumb ass stay here is us. Stupid. Duh. How you a Haitian for Trump when Harris' daddy is a Jamaican? You know how stupid you got to be to not vote for her and her daddy Jamaican and you from the islands? Unbelievable. We the ones that might not want to vote for her because she might help immigrants. We the ones got to decide that we want her or Trump. Is she going to help immigrants too much and don't help us? But for you to be from Haiti, or be any type of immigrant and you didn't vote for Harris, you dumb as a rock. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, her parents is immigrant. Duh-ruh. And all y'all immigrants didn't vote for her? Oh, y'all slow as hell. That don't make no sense. What's wrong with them? No wonder your countries is failing and you got to run over here. And another problem with black immigrants and antagonizing black Americans. That's another. When your numbers, when we 50 million strong and you a million and a half, why would you come and antagonize us? And we got more gang members and criminals than y'all got people over here. And what's going to happen? Because we decent. What's going to happen if y'all irritate the ones that ain't decent? Dumb as hell. Now we got to tell the ones that ain't decent, no, don't do that. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Crazy. Black immigrants, they come from a tribal war. Imagine you come from tribal war, you over here. What about y'all, GDs and BDs? Bro, shut up. You just ran from tribal war. How you gonna, what? And they think the gang problem is bigger than what it is, too. They think that's super duper big. They do. They think our gang problem is bigger than what it is. They can't comprehend it's 50 million of us. There ain't no lot of people, them gang members ain't no lot of people. Them gang members probably ain't nothing but, out of 50 million, them gang members probably ain't nothing but 2-3 million gang members. 47 million ain't. They probably think the gang members is 25 million or so. They probably think it's half our population. I ain't lying. Hey, White Flame, they probably think the gangs is half our population. They don't know the gangs ain't as big as they think they is, do they? The amount of gangs in Chicago is nothing compared to the amount of black Chicago citizens. You got to know that every one gang member got how many family members. Yeah. Hey, they don't know that every one gang member got how many family members that ain't gang members. Duh. They family ain't no damn gang members. They the only one. Maybe it's two. Maybe Jeffrey and Larry, little brothers is. The rest of the family ain't that. Their baby mama show ain't that. They think the gangs is big as hell. It's like, no. No. If the neighbors tell them to get from in front of their house, they got to get from in front of their house. Especially in Chicago, White Flags. I went to L.A., and the Crips was talking crazy to the neighbors. I never seen nothing like that. I said, damn, y'all could do that? You can't talk crazy on no block in Chicago because a lot of the neighbors is Chicago police officers. Mr. Johnson gonna come outside and say, you said what? Yeah, you can't talk crazy to Chicago foundational black Americans. Hell no. I remember I would be at O Block and the BDs would be outside that old lady's window talking, and every now and then she'll say, shut up and get the hell away from my window. They'd be like, okay, and they move. When old mama tell them, shut up and get the hell away from her window, they move. Because they know if they tell mama something bad, they know somebody like me gonna come outside. People gonna come outside and say, hey, y'all heard her, get the hell away from her window. They already know how that's gonna go. Big Pharaoh gonna come outside. My grandmama chased Mickey Conway down the street with the baseball bat over something he didn't even sanction. And your uncle got his butt. Exactly. Boy, listen, these old people get out of gang member. And our gang members don't disrespect the elders like that. They'll get dead dirty. Because in Chicago, we got retired gang members. We got old gang members who then went straight. Big Lulu used to be the big GD, and now he got a family and a wife and some kids, and he take care of his mama. And you go over there mess around with Big Lulu, and you gonna FA and FO. You know what I'm saying? Because we got civilians that's ex-gang members. And they civilians now, and they not going. You're going to mess around and find out. Chicago's confusing. Yeah, we got good, honest citizens that used to be the monsters. And they not going. And then that gang going to still ride with them. Chicago different. So even dude ain't gangbanging no more. What he say still going to hold weight with the gang. So when he push something positive, they going to go with it. Chicago different. You can't be, no, our gangs is respectful. They can't be all on the block disrespecting the homeowners and all that. Not in Chicago. Hell no. They was doing that in L.A. I couldn't believe it. I said, damn, what the hell kind of politics y'all got? You disrespect some lady here, and you a GD, and her son a GD, and find out, it's going to go bad. He going to go, well, you talk to my mama like that? It's going to go bad. It ain't like he going to come and sanction you acting a fool out here on the block. It don't go like that. Most of our problem here is because substance abuse. They don't tell the whole story. It's substance abuse. I know an officer, a detective. He said, Pharaoh, they be so gone on them substances. He said, when we arrest them, we got to put them in a room for 2 days. And he said, I'm an expert detective. He said, I know when they lying. He said, when I go interview them, ask them what happened, he said, Pharaoh, they really don't know what happened. He said, I remember the day they lie and say they don't know what happened. He said, nowadays, the detective told me they so gone, Pharaoh, they really don't know what happened. I said, are you kidding? He said, I swear to God. He said, they don't know. They don't remember nothing for real. I said, you lying. Yeah, I was in LA. They was cussing out the neighbors and everything. I swear to God, Kushai Selassie, that the police, the best detectives said, Pharaoh, they don't remember nothing. We just got to go get the evidence to lock them up because they really don't remember. They don't remember where they was at June 21st at 10 o'clock that night. They don't remember nothing. I said, man, are you kidding? He's like, I'm telling you. They be so gone off these new substances. You know, in the Cook County Jail now, they'll take a book and they find out how to put a substance on a page. So they'll put this liquid substance on a page on the book, like page 154. And then they'll send you the book. And then when you call them, they'll be like page 154. And you could tear the page out and you could roll up pieces of the page and it's a substance. Yeah, they smoking pages on books where they done figured out how to put the stuff on the page in the book. So now they got to get some new machines at the county jail to scan all the books page by page to find out which page got the substance on it. On my soul. They found out how to put the chemicals on a page on the book. They'll tell you the page, or you can roll up little pieces of the book and smoke it. On my soul. And whatever they put on it when they smoke it, they be gone to outer space. They be crazy. They be crazy. So now it take forever to get your book because they got to scan every book that come into the county jail. Yeah, and they put it on the pages of the book, ain't that information, man? That I seen that 2 weeks ago. I couldn't believe it. They putting it on the page of a book, and they got to try to find it. That's crazy. And it be strong on there too. Someone be losing their mind. Yeah, man, I said, are you serious? I watched a whole documentary on that like 3 weeks ago. I couldn't believe it. I said, what? So now it's taking forever for people to get their books. They got a whole room just. They got a whole room, information man, just trying to scan these books. So it's taking dudes forever to get their mail. They got to scan all the paper, all the mail, every piece of paper. They got to check it if it got substance on it. That's crazy. That's crazy. Information man, that is crazy. Yeah, they are. Yeah, I seen that too. Man, let me tell you something. That's why people like me, we ain't doing no more crimes. Boy, the last thing you wanted, boy, you don't want to go to jail nowhere in the United States right now. Jail and prison got to be the worst it's ever been. I seen another thing where the prison, and there's water in the dude's cell up to his ankle. Nobody, the whole jail is flooded. It's just like that. No lights. The lights don't work. Some electricity don't work, and they just in there locked in like a third world country, like a dungeon. I seen that about 6 weeks ago. I said, "What, dude? Like somebody need to come help us." I don't know if that was New Orleans or somewhere down there, and it's a whole prison, and don't nothing work in there. It's flooded everywhere. It's the worst thing, and they got them just in there. Their clothes don't get washed or nothing. Eventually, they're gonna have an outbreak, and thousands of people gonna pass away in one of them prisons. Watch. It's like super inhumane, man. I seen Shorty, he was walking around, his cell was full of water. And then when you look outside the cell, it was water in the whole prison. Yeah, they making it illegal to be homeless, and they building places to lock you up for that too. I remember being in LA selling my incense. And dude said, "Could you give me $2?" I said, not really. He said, "I really need $2." Because he said, now if they search us and we ain't got $2, they can lock us up for vagrancy. I said, "Are you kidding me?" He said, "Yeah." And I looked it up and it's true. If you don't got no money in your pocket in some places, they can lock you up. He wasn't lying. I said, "What? It's vagrancy. If you ain't got no money, they can lock you up." He was like, "All I need is $2 so they won't lock me up." This was years ago too, downtown LA. This was years ago. That's still in effect. If you ain't got no money, that's vagrancy. See, they ain't never tell you what vagrancy is. Vagrancy is a bum. You don't got nothing. You just outside. It's illegal. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. Vagrancy is illegal in certain places. Look, maybe they changed it. But look, traditionally, vagrancy was widely treated as a crime penalized by fines or jail time. But they say today broad transitional vagrancy laws are largely unconstitutional or inactive in many places. But governments still regulate public behavior through specific public nuisance, loitering, or camping ordinance. So, in other words, they'll get you for loitering or public nuisance. Vagrancy Act of 1824 in the United Kingdom. Boy, I'm telling you, man, traditional general vagrancy laws were struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court for being unconstitutionally vague. However, cities frequently enforce specific bans on public camping, loitering, or obstructing sidewalks. So they just gonna lock you up now. They don't call it vagrancy. They gonna call it loitering. Boy, I'm telling you, we in some Mad Max, ain't we? We in the Mad Max. We in the Mad Max. But I'm going to end this, but I'm going to tell all the black immigrants right now, y'all need to lock in with Foundation of Black Americans and push reparations. That's what y'all need to do. Y'all need to lock in with Foundation of Black Americans, start pushing reparations, get the Foundation of Black Americans to bring you in like family. And then you're going to have a stronger campaign for the system to leave you alone. But the way you black immigrants is functioning now, y'all sitting out there on an island and try to compete with Foundation of Black Americans. That ain't gonna work. That's not gonna work. That's gonna fail. Because the white American gonna always pick us over y'all. Always. He'll use you, but he never gonna pick y'all over. He never gonna pick y'all over, but y'all don't understand how America works. You can't get in with him. America, they don't really teach they don't teach immigrants about America. In America, if you're a black immigrant, they'll help you over black Americans sometimes, but they won't like you for accepting that help. Because they be on, I wish you would. So if a white race see somebody from a black race snake another black, they think it. We wish a white group would do us like that. So that from the white point of view, they gonna look at you negative because they ain't accepting that on their side. So they gonna look at you negative because they gonna relate it to them. And they gonna be like, when they bring in these white South Africans and these white Ukrainians, they thinking, boy, we wish they better not do us like black immigrants do black Americans. That's how they gonna look at it. Nobody in America, even if they're gonna fight against you, America never will respect you if you go against your own. If you look at black Americans and you look at YouTube videos where black Americans are criticizing black immigrants, you'll notice black Americans only go so far. Because they over here, if you go too far, white people gonna look down on you. Facts. I'm telling you, they don't understand America. If I go too far against black immigrants, that'll turn around and bite me. They ain't gonna like that. And black immigrants will understand that. They think if they do that, they're gonna move them up. Nobody gonna move up a snake, man. They're gonna look at you as a snake. They're gonna look at you. If you stab your own in the back, what make you think they're gonna trust you? Nobody. If I mistreat my sister, it's me and my sister. If I mistreat my sister in front of the other kids, is the other kids gonna deal with me? No. Until the Africans stop beefing in Africa, nobody gonna ever like Africa. Africans are never going nowhere in the world until they stop tribal warring in Africa. Y'all, is so bad that Africans is all over Europe beefing with Africans. Look it up. Africans is all over Europe tribal warring in Europe. This African against that African in a white country. I swear to God, in Germany and Poland, wherever they go, when the African get in a beef or a fight, It's with another different African. You cannot make this up. They're going all over the world fighting each other in other people's countries. I swear to God. Just like the Jamaica. That's why they threw the Jamaicans out. Jamaicans came all the way from Chicago, all the way from Jamaica to Chicago. And guess who they was beefing with? Other Jamaicans. I ain't lying. Jamaicans came from Jamaica to LA, from Jamaica to Chicago. And you know who they was beefing with? Jamaicans. You cannot make this up. They wasn't beefing with us. I swear to God. They came all the way from Jamaica up here, was beefing with Jamaicans. This posse versus that posse. I swear to God. You cannot make this up. Everybody look at you crazy, like get them out of here. All my friends got deported. I swear to God, you can't make this up. Crazy. You look at black immigrants, they got all these things they call themselves. They Jamaican, they Ghanaian, they this. We call ourselves FBA. They say it's division. Let that sink in. Africans got a whole bunch of different type of Africans. And they say FBA is division. You can't make it up. And they really think they be saying something. It's like, bruh, how somebody divided into hundreds of tribes gonna cause somebody divisive? Oh my soul, you can't make it up. Let that sink in. And to prove it, we're gonna leave on this note. We're gonna leave on this note and then show you how ridiculous the brothers and sisters in Africa are. They need to get themselves together. That's why we don't got no allies. Because if you don't get along with each other, you sure ain't going to get along with us. Victory.
There's this term that I know people are not going to like this, but I don't like the term FBA. Because I think it is the most separatist term. What it does, it furthers this idea of separation. My father used to tell me, I don't know what all these fuss is about. They are the same people.